At 2 a.m., a billionaire walked into a hospital he just bought for $47 million. He was about to gut it and turn it into luxury condos. But when he turned the corner and saw who was mopping the floors, his entire world shattered. What he discovered next cost him everything: his investors, his reputation, his fortune. But he'd make the same choice again in a heartbeat. This is a story about sacrifice, secrets, and the price of success. Stay until the end. You won't believe what he does with that building. The conference room on the 14th floor smelled like leather and expensive coffee. Jordan Blake sat at the head of the table, his lawyer on his left, 3 hospital board members across from him. Outside the window, Detroit stretched out gray and cold under a November sky. He could see the GM Renaissance Center from here, the river, the bridge to Canada. Everything looked smaller than he remembered. "Mr. Blake, if you'll just sign here, here, and initial here." The lawyer slid the papers across the mahogany table. Jordan picked up the pen. It was heavy, the kind of pen that cost more than his mother's first car. He caught himself thinking that and pushed the thought away. $47 million. That's what Roosevelt Memorial Hospital cost. The building had been losing money for 5 years. The board wanted out. Jordan's investors thought he was crazy, but the numbers worked. The location was perfect. Gut the interior, turn it into luxury condos, sell them to the young professionals moving back to Detroit. He'd triple his money in 2 years. He signed his name 3 times. The board members smiled. They shook his hand. Someone mentioned drinks later. Jordan nodded, but he wasn't listening. He was looking at the hospital purchase agreement, at the address printed at the top. 4900 Brush Street. He knew that address. He'd known it his whole life. "We can have the building cleared out by January 15th, one of the board members said. "Most of the staff has already been notified. Just some stragglers in maintenance and custodial." Jordan felt something cold move through his chest. Custodial? The cleaning crew. Night shift mostly. They're union, so it takes a bit longer to process them out, but your people won't have any issues. He nodded. His phone buzzed. A Slack message from his CTO in San Francisco. Jordan ignored it. The board members stood up, gathered their coats, filed out. His lawyer stayed behind, organizing papers into a briefcase. "You want to see it?" the lawyer asked. "See what?" "The building. You just bought it. Most people want to walk through." Jordan checked his watch. It was 3:47 p.m. "What time does the night shift start?" The lawyer looked at him weird. "I don't know. 11. Midnight. Set up a walkthrough for 2 a.m. 2 in the morning. I want to see it empty. I want to see what I'm working with." The lawyer shrugged, made a note on his phone. Jordan stood up, grabbed his coat. Through the window, he could see the hospital in the distance. It was an ugly brown building, 7 stories, built in the 60s. The kind of place that looked tired even when it was new. He remembered being 6 years old, remembered his mother bending down in their kitchen, her face close to his. "Mama's gotta go to work now, baby. Miss Patterson is gonna stay with you till morning." He'd grabbed her hand, the one that always smelled like the pink soap from the hospital. "Why you gotta work at night?" he'd asked. She'd smiled, but it wasn't a real smile. "Because that's when they need me most." That was 1997. She'd worked at Roosevelt Memorial for 34 years. She retired 2 years ago. At least that's what she told him. Jordan drove his Tesla through streets he used to know. Everything had changed. The liquor store where he'd bought candy was gone. The church was boarded up. New apartment buildings stood where empty lots used to be. Detroit was coming back, everyone said. Jordan wasn't sure if that was true or if it was just a different city wearing Detroit's name. He parked outside his hotel downtown. The lobby was all glass and steel, a doorman in a uniform. His room was on the 23rd floor. He ordered food he didn't eat and returned emails he didn't care about. At midnight, he changed into jeans and a hoodie. At 1:30 a.m., he got back in his car. The hospital parking lot was mostly empty. A few cars clustered near the employee entrance. Jordan parked under a broken light. The air smelled like snow that hadn't fallen yet. He could see his breath. His phone said it was 28 degrees. The lawyer was waiting by the side door, looking miserable and cold. This better be quick. I've got a 7 a.m. flight. They went inside. The heat hit Jordan's face, that specific hospital heat that's too warm and too dry. The hallways were empty. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Half of them were flickering. The floor was that gray speckled tile he remembered, the kind that was supposed to hide dirt but just looked dirty all the time. Most of the equipment's been moved out already, the lawyer said, walking fast. The third floor is completely cleared. Fourth floor still has some. Hold on. Jordan stopped walking. He heard something. A squeaking sound, rhythmic, getting closer. The lawyer checked his phone. Look, I really need to. Sure. The sound was coming from around the corner. Squeaky wheels on linoleum. Jordan knew that sound. He'd heard it 1,000 times as a kid when his mother came home, when that sound meant she was finally done, finally back. He walked toward it. The lawyer followed, confused. They turned the corner into the main corridor of the second floor. The lights were better here, bright and harsh. And there, 30 feet away, was a woman pushing a cleaning cart. She wore navy blue scrubs. Her hair was pulled back in a bun under a hairnet. She was mopping the floor in smooth practice strokes, the kind of motion you only get after doing something 10,000 times. She had her back to them. She was humming something. A church song, maybe. Jordan's legs stopped working. The lawyer was saying something, but Jordan couldn't hear it. The woman turned around to dip her mop in the bucket. That's when she saw him. Her face went through 5 expressions in 2 seconds. Confusion. Recognition. Shock. Fear. Something else Jordan couldn't name. Jordan. His mother's voice was barely a whisper. The mop fell from her hands. It hit the floor with a wet slap. Dirty water spread across the tiles she'd just cleaned. Jordan couldn't move. Couldn't speak. His mother stood there in the empty hallway at 2 in the morning, wearing the same uniform she'd worn when he was 6, when he was 12, when he was 17. The uniform she'd told him she'd never have to wear again. "What are you doing here?" she asked. But she wasn't looking at him. She was looking at the lawyer, at the visitor badges they were wearing, at the keys in the lawyer's hand. The lawyer, clueless, smiled. "Miss, I'm sorry, what's your name?" "Diane," Jordan said. His voice sounded strange. "Her name is Diane Blake." The lawyer's smile faltered. He looked at Jordan, then at Diane, then back at Jordan. Blake. Jordan's mother took a step back. Her hand reached for the cleaning cart like she needed something to hold on to. "Baby, why are you here?" "It's the middle of the night." "I'm here because—" His throat closed up. He looked at his mother, really looked at her. She'd gotten older. When had that happened? There were deep lines around her eyes. Her hands looked swollen. She was standing funny, like her hip hurt. "Mom, you told me you retired." She didn't say anything. 2 years ago. You called me and you said you were done. You said you were finally done. I was going to. You lied to me. "Jordan, baby, I can explain," the lawyer said. "Everyone's being cleared out." He said. Jordan stopped. He looked at the lawyer. "Leave us alone." "Mr. Blake, I don't think—" "Get out." The lawyer left fast. His footsteps echoed down the hallway and then they were gone. It was just Jordan and his mother in the empty corridor. The fluorescent lights buzzed. Somewhere a pipe was dripping. His mother's mop bucket sat between them like a border neither of them could cross. If this story is touching your heart right now, please hit that subscribe button and tap the like icon. It helps us bring you more real, emotional stories like this one. Let's keep going. The most powerful part is still ahead. "Why are you still working here?" Jordan's voice cracked. He hated how young he sounded, like he was a kid again asking why she had to leave for night shift. Diane bent down slowly, too slowly, and picked up the mop. She didn't look at him. "I needed the hours." "You needed the— Mom, I send you money every month. I bought you that house in Southfield. You said you were traveling, you said. I know what I said." She started mopping again, the same spot she'd just cleaned. Her hands were shaking. "Stop cleaning." Jordan's voice came out louder than he meant. "Stop it. Look at me." She stopped, but she still wouldn't look at him. She was staring at the floor, at the gray tiles that had been there for 40 years, at the water spreading in thin rivers between the grooves. "Why didn't you tell me?" Jordan took a step toward her. "Why did you lie?" "Because you would have done exactly what you're doing right now." Her voice was quiet, but there was something hard in it, something he'd never heard before. "You would have tried to fix it. You would have thrown money at it. And I didn't want your money, Jordan. I never wanted your money." "Then what do you want?" She finally looked up at him. Her eyes were wet. "I wanted you to be free." The words hit him like cold water. He couldn't breathe right. "What does that mean?" "Your student loans. Stanford. That was $280,000. She said it matter-of-fact, like she was reading off a grocery list. "The forgiveness program, the one you thought paid it off, that fell through in 2023. Remember? You called me and you were so stressed because they said you'd have to start paying again and it would be $3,000 a month and you just started your company and you said it got worked out." Jordan's voice was barely above a whisper. "You said your friend in financial aid fixed it." "I lied." Diane set the mop against the cart. She looked tired. More tired than Jordan had ever seen anyone look. "I called them. I set up a payment plan. I've been paying it off since then." "That's not possible." "That's... How much is left?" $47,000. Jordan felt the hallway tilt. He grabbed the wall. "You've paid $233,000. $238. There was interest. In 2 years. How is that?" And then he understood. The double shifts. The lying about retirement. His mother, 62 years old with bad knees and arthritis in her hands, working 16-hour days to pay off debt that was his, that he could have handled, that he would have handled if he'd known. "I see your face on billboards," Diane said. She was crying now, but her voice stayed steady. "I see articles about you. Forbes 30 under 30. That Bloomberg interview where they called you the next big thing in healthcare AI. And I'm so proud, baby. You don't even know how proud. But you wouldn't have any of that if you were drowning in debt. You needed to be free to build something. So I made sure you were free." "By killing yourself?" Jordan's voice broke. "By working night shifts at 62 years old? By lying to me for 2 years? By being your mother?" She said it simple, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. "That's what mothers do." Jordan couldn't talk. He put his hands over his face. His shoulders shook. He was crying and he couldn't stop. All those months he'd been in San Francisco celebrating funding rounds and giving TED Talks and buying a condo in Pacific Heights, his mother had been here. In this building. On this floor. Mopping up other people's messes at 2 in the morning so he could be successful. He felt her hand on his shoulder. Small and warm and swollen from years of wringing out mops and lifting trash bags and scrubbing floors. "It's okay, baby," she said softly. "You didn't know." "I should have known." He looked at her through tears. "I should have come home more. I should have asked more questions. I should have. You were building something important. That's what you were supposed to do. Nothing is more important than you." She smiled sad. "You don't mean that right now, but you will tomorrow when you cool off. Your company helps people. Your AI thing, the one that catches cancer early, that saves lives, Jordan. That matters more than me mopping floors." "Don't say that. Don't ever say that." Jordan grabbed her hands. They were rough and cracked and cold. "Why are you even here tonight? It's Friday. You usually only work weekends." Diane looked away. "They asked me to pick up extra. They're short-staffed because people are leaving. Everyone's scared about the new owner, about losing their jobs, about—" She stopped. Her eyes went wide. "Oh God. The new owner. Jordan, why are you here with a lawyer at 2 in the morning? Why do you have keys to the building?" He couldn't say it. The words stuck in his throat like glass. "Jordan." Her voice changed. "Baby, why are you here?" "I bought it." His voice was barely a whisper. "I bought the hospital." She pulled her hands away from his, took a step back, then another. No. I closed the deal this afternoon. No. No, Jordan, please tell me you didn't. I didn't know you still worked here. I swear I didn't know. What are you going to do with it? Her voice was shaking. Jordan, what are you going to do with this building? He couldn't look at her. The plan was to convert it. Luxury condos. The location is perfect and the housing market in Detroit is condos. She said it flat. You're going to tear down the place I've worked for 34 years and turn it into condos. Mom, I didn't know. How many people work here? How many people are going to lose their jobs so you can build apartments for rich people? 143 employees are being transferred to other facilities. The custodial staff, there's 12 of them, they're getting severance packages. Severance packages. Diane laughed, but it wasn't a real laugh. It was the sound of something breaking. You think money fixes this? You think a severance package helps Rita, who's 58 and won't find another job? Or Miguel, who's got 3 kids and diabetes and needs the health insurance? Or all the patients who used to come here because this was the only hospital in this neighborhood that took Medicaid? There are other hospitals, 6 miles away. You know how many people in this neighborhood don't have cars? You know what happens when you close the only emergency room for 3 miles? Mom, please. I cleaned these floors when you were born. Her voice broke. This hospital is where I brought you when you had pneumonia at 4 years old. This is where I worked double shifts so you could go to that fancy high school. This is where I stayed late on Christmas Eve and Thanksgiving and your birthday because we needed the money. And now you're going to erase it. Turn it into something shiny for people who've never had to clean anything in their lives. I can change the plan. Jordan heard himself saying it before he even thought it. I can call my investors right now, I can, and lose everything? Your company runs on investor money, Jordan. You've told me that. You walk away from this deal and they'll drop you. I don't care. Yes, you do. She picked up her mop again. Started cleaning. You care because you worked too hard to get here. And I worked too hard to get you here. So you're going to do what you plan to do. You're going to build your condos. You're going to make your money. And I'm going to finish my shift. Mom, go home, Jordan. Your lawyer's probably freezing outside. I'm not leaving you here. This is my job. I've got 4 more hours. You're not working another minute in this building. His voice came out hard, final. You're done. Right now. She looked at him. Really looked at him. And for the first time that night, she smiled. A real smile. Small and sad but real. You can't fire me, baby. You don't own the building until January 1st. I've got 3 more weeks. Then I'll wait. Jordan pulled over a plastic chair that was leaning against the wall. It was cracked and one leg was shorter than the others, but he sat down anyway. I'll wait right here until your shift ends. Then I'm driving you home. Then we're going to figure this out. There's nothing to figure out. Yes, there is. Jordan pulled out his phone. Started typing. His hands were shaking, but he kept going. I'm calling an emergency board meeting. I'm restructuring the deal. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I'm not letting this happen. Not like this. Jordan, your investors, can find someone else to make them rich. He looked up at her. You spent 34 years sacrificing for me. You spent 2 years paying my debt when you should have been resting. You spent your whole life putting me first. It's my turn now. Diane stood there in the empty hallway holding her mop. Tears ran down her face. She didn't wipe them away. What are you going to do? I don't know yet. He stood up, walked over to her, took the mop from her hands and leaned it against the wall. But I know I'm not turning this place into condos. I know I'm not putting 143 people out of work. And I know you're never cleaning another floor as long as you live. She started crying harder. Jordan put his arms around her. She was shorter than he remembered. When had that happened? When had his mother gotten small? I'm sorry, he whispered into her hair. I'm so sorry I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry I let you do this alone. You were busy changing the world. Her voice was muffled against his chest. You are my world. They stood there in the empty corridor while the fluorescent lights buzzed and the pipes dripped, and somewhere in the distance a phone rang that nobody answered. After a long time, Diane pulled back. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. So what now? She asked. Jordan looked around the hallway. At the scuffed walls and the old tiles and the water fountains that probably didn't work right. He thought about his investors and their spreadsheets and their projected returns. He thought about the condos he was supposed to build. He thought about his mother's hands. Now, he said slowly, I figure out how to turn a hospital into something that actually helps people. Something that matters more than profit margins. Something that would make sense to a woman who spent 34 years making sure other people had clean floors to walk on. That's not a business plan. Then I'll make it one. He pulled out his phone again. Started making calls. It was 3:17 a.m., but he didn't care. I've got lawyers and accountants and investors to wake up. You've got a shift to finish, Jordan, your last shift. Ever. I'm walking every floor with you. Then we're going to breakfast. Then we're going to fix this. Diane smiled. Her eyes were still wet, but something had changed in her face. She looked lighter. Younger. Like the weight she'd been carrying had finally shifted. You're going to lose a lot of money. Good. Jordan picked up her cleaning cart. I've got too much anyway. Come on. Show me how you've been doing this for 34 years. I want to learn. She laughed. A real laugh this time. Baby, you're wearing a $3,000 hoodie. You're not mopping floors. Watch me. And so at 3:20 a.m. on a Friday in November, a billionaire tech founder and his mother cleaned the second floor of Roosevelt Memorial Hospital together. She showed him how to wring out the mop just right, how to get into the corners, how to make sure the streaks went the same direction. She told him stories about the doctors she'd known and the patients she'd prayed for and the nights she'd almost quit but didn't. And Jordan listened. Really listened. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about his company or his investors or his reputation. He was just there, on his knees scrubbing baseboards with his mother, learning what 34 years of sacrifice actually looked like up close. 3 weeks later, on January 1st, Jordan officially became the owner of Roosevelt Memorial Hospital. His investors dropped him. 2 board members quit. His company's stock dropped 18% in one day. He didn't convert the building into condos. Instead, he reopened it as a free community health center. He hired back every single employee at double their previous salary. He created a child care center on the 3rd floor for workers' kids. He built a training program for custodial staff to become medical assistants if they wanted. And he renamed the building. The sign went up on a cold morning in February. Diane Blake Community Health Center. His mother cried when she saw it. So did Rita and Miguel and the other cleaners who thought they'd never work again. Jordan's company survived, but barely. He lost funding. He lost partnerships. He lost respect in Silicon Valley. People called him naive, irresponsible, a bleeding heart who didn't understand business. He didn't care. Because every Tuesday and Thursday, he drove from San Francisco to Detroit. And every Tuesday and Thursday, he walked through the doors of the Diane Blake Community Health Center and saw his mother's name in bronze letters. And every Tuesday and Thursday, he watched people who looked like his family get medical care they couldn't afford anywhere else. That was worth more than any condo. Worth more than any profit margin. Worth more than any Forbes list. His mother stopped working night shifts. She started volunteering instead, 3 mornings a week, greeting patients at the front desk. Her hands slowly healed. The swelling went down. She smiled more. And Jordan learned something his Stanford professors never taught him. That success isn't about how much you make. It's about what you do with what you have. It's about seeing the people who sacrificed for you and sacrificing back. It's about walking into a hospital at 2 a.m. and finding your mother mopping floors and choosing her over everything else. On his mother's 63rd birthday, Jordan brought her back to the 2nd floor corridor where he'd found her that night. Someone had framed a photo there now. It was his mother in her navy blue scrubs, smiling, standing next to her cleaning cart. Underneath, a plaque read, "In honor of Diane Blake and all the workers who keep us safe, healthy, and cared for. Your work matters. You matter. Diane stood in front of it for a long time. Then she turned to her son. You did good, baby. We did good, Jordan said. Together. And in that moment, in that hallway where his mother had spent 10,000 nights making things clean for other people, Jordan finally understood what it meant to build something that mattered. If this story moved you, please subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss stories like this. Drop a comment below and tell us where you're watching from, and if you've ever sacrificed something for someone you love, share your story with us. Your support means everything. Thank you for watching.